This is ABC15 Mornings.
Now at 6, are you ready to dive in with both feet? Pools are allowed to reopen, but when and how that happens is what every city is now trying to figure out.
New jobless claims reported less than 30 minutes ago. Millions more out of work. And this morning, a new report on just how high the unemployment rate could climb.
And the future of education as parents go back to work. Where will their kids be taught? Several changes are on the table right now, and parents need some answers because, of course, as we wrap up this school year, you got to look forward and think about the next one. We say good morning to you. Happy Thursday. We're going to dive deeper into that and our other top headlines for you in just a second. But let's talk about that most accurate forecast. Kaylee O'Kelly is here as well. I want to mention her before we get to Iris and that all-important weekend forecast to Iris because we are in for a little bit of a warm-up.
We are. So that's why, like yesterday, don't rush through the week this time around because we've got to enjoy these cooler temperatures, right? Today, we've got highs back into the low 90s. You'll see more clouds out there, but it's going to stay dry. Then we've got that weekend warm up. So enjoy the low 90s today before it gets toasty. We've got hundreds in sight by this weekend. Now, right now, temperatures are feeling really nice. And look at Phoenix. We've even cooled into the upper 60s in Phoenix at Sky Harbor. So a cooler morning this morning than even yesterday with just a few high clouds moving through. It'll be a partly cloudy day, but we will not see any rain out in the valley, not across the state. And today we'll end up just 1 degree warmer than yesterday with a high of 92. But look at that warm up. It's a slow one again. That means you'll enjoy the 70s through about 10 a.m., then into the 80s after that with just a few hours in the 90s today. We'll reach 92 today. Tomorrow, 95. I'll show you when we'll see the hundreds in that 7-day forecast.
Iris, thank you. Nearly 450 new reported coronavirus cases in our state from yesterday, putting the total for Arizona now to more than 12,000. The death toll closing in on 600. Over 160,000 people have been tested with a positivity rate so far of 6%. Long-term care facilities in our state and across the country have really become hotspots in this pandemic. Mark Thompson is joining us live now. Mark, this is something you've been covering now for a while, and a Tempe senior living community appears to be the latest place with a deadly outbreak.
Yeah, Nick, good morning to you. And this is one our investigators, they have been watching for a while. We're talking about the Westchester Senior Living Center in Tempe. They have now recorded 14 deaths at that facility, and the facility is now texting family members that another 40 residents have tested positive, along with about 24 staffers. The first case reported about a month ago. It comes as more testing will be done in long-term care facilities, skilled nursing facilities that are Medicare certified. They'll be the first to have all residents in Maricopa County tested there. County health officials say that they are assisting the state health department. The White House has requested that all certified nursing homes be fully tested in the next 2 weeks.
Once they complete those testing in those facilities that are mandated by the White House, Maricopa County will continue the process with other facilities at highest risk and prioritize them all the way down the line.
Really get to everyone, and they say that assisted living facilities, they may be at higher risk because they allow their residents to go to and from out into the public, unlike a traditional nursing home setting. And the county says that it is still working to get all of those facilities the much needed personal protection equipment that they have and that they need. Reporting live this morning, Mark Thompson, ABC 15, Arizona.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. Well, we know that so many kids, big kids too, are ready for a day poolside, right? A day to cool off. Earlier this week, the governor giving public and community pools the green light to allow you to cool off. And this morning, our Carla Navarrete is joining us live. She's in Mesa talking about an even longer wait, but all of this is in the name of safety. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Kaylee. Yeah, that's right. City pools can now reopen, but whether or not they will, that is still to be determined. I can tell you here in the city of Mesa, a meeting is expected to happen this morning to discuss this very issue. The city of Phoenix will not be addressing this issue until next week. Now, I can tell you most of them are expected to remain closed at least through the Memorial Day weekend and potentially open not until June. Now, under the governor's executive order, pools can reopen if they follow CDC guidelines of social distancing and sanitation procedures. Now, the CDC also says at this time there's no evidence that COVID-19 spreads to people through water in pools. Cities will have to train lifeguards on the new protocols. Now, we spoke with a deputy director at the Tempe Parks and Recreations Department about this very issue. Take a listen to what he had to say.
To get them back in, we've got to get them trained, and that requires, weeks worth of preparation. Our guard staff predominantly is made up of high school and college students, some of which may no longer be in town.
Now, we did reach out to several Valley cities, including the cities of Gilbert, Glendale, Surprise, and they all reached back out to us telling us that they are working on a plan as far as reopening. Of course, all of this is still up in the air. Again, the city of Mesa having a meeting here this morning at 7:30. Phoenix not talking about this until at least next week. For now, reporting live in Mesa, I'm Carla Navarrete. Kaylee, back to you.
All right, all of this an effort to keep you healthy. Let's talk about that. Maricopa County's Public Health Department is ramping up contact tracing. This is something we've talked a lot about here over the past couple of months. They're doing this as a big time effort. Health officials say by July 1st, they will be able to trace as many as 500 people daily, every day. The department hiring dozens of public health investigators and made an agreement with Arizona 211 for additional call makers. They are also using technology called the Sarah Alert system.
Household contacts and close contacts will be asked to check in daily via daily text or email to report symptoms securely to public health.
As soon as the health department learns someone has tested positive for coronavirus, they will send that person a text message to check on their condition and advise them how to protect others until they hear directly from a disease investigator.
Well, as more businesses and public places begin to reopen, doctors are warning people not to go to all of them at once. For example, if you go out and get a haircut, they suggest that you don't go out to eat at a restaurant afterwards. So doctors are saying choose one public place a day to limit your possible exposure. The more places you go, the more likely you are to become infected or infect others. And they say we should still social distance as best as we can and continue washing our hands more often. Arizona State University announcing the school will offer a small number of summer classes on campus. These are courses that can't be taught online, and faculty and students will have to adhere to safety measures like social distancing. Everything else will be taught remotely. ASU will use these classes to better assess and implement protocols so teaching can resume on campus in the fall.
Well, as we work to find out if students are actually going back to the classroom when the fall does finally come, we're also learning that the State Board of Education is considering some changes to make it easier to offer online courses. Here's ABC 15's Danielle Lerner.
Right now, only 70 of the more than 200 public school districts in our state are authorized to provide online courses or online schools. But with so much still unknown going into next school year, I'm told several school districts have already expressed interest in either establishing new online programs or expanding what they already offer.
I think districts are looking at their contingency plans, and I think that they're trying to make a multitude of plans so that they know what to expect in any given circumstance.
To become authorized, the current process looks like this. The application window goes from July or August through the end of October. The review must include an in-person or virtual demonstration, and the board then approves applications for the following school year. If the changes are approved, the application window would move up to May 19th and go through July 1st. The review may not require an in-person or virtual demonstration, and the board will approve applications for this coming school year during a special meeting in July or August.
I reached out to the Department of Education to ask if this is a sign students will continue remote learning into next year. Officials sent me this statement saying, quote, "The best place for learning for most students is in the classroom. But given the unpredictable public health situation, we must plan for all types of contingencies, including the need for remote learning options and hybrid models that utilize in-person and virtual instruction that can work for all students. The board is expected to vote on this on Monday, and just to be clear, this only applies to public school districts. Charter schools go through their own state board. I'm Danielle Lerner, ABC 15, Arizona.
Danielle, thank you. Next on ABC 15 Mornings, treatment is never free. So what do you do if you contract the coronavirus? New this morning, a look at what you might have to pay out of pocket. Plus, wildfire season is here. Now the U.S. Forest Service is preparing for crews to battle these fires and also a pandemic.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
Okay, just about 6:13 right now. Time for your Desert Drive Time traffic, sponsored by Accident Law Group. Here looks like there's a truck off to the side here at the Loop 202 and the I-10. You can see, fortunately, it looks like we're glitching here with the camera, but there is a truck off to the side in that right lane, so keep that in mind as you're driving by here today. Let's talk about that most accurate forecast and get to meteorologist Iris Hermosillo.
Hey, Nick, let's talk about it because we're starting off with very nice conditions out there. You can start to see that light reflecting through my blinds or coming through my blinds. I'm sure it's happening at your house too, as we are off to a nice, mostly clear to partly cloudy start. We do have some high clouds that move through overnight. Those high clouds moving in across central and southern Arizona. They're a little difficult to see now on satellite clouds and radar, but they're out there. And today we'll see those high clouds kind of move through throughout the day. So a mix of clouds and sun, but it's staying dry. Now, despite those high clouds, it's a very comfortable morning. Temperatures have managed to cool into the 60s pretty much across most of the valley, even at Phoenix Sky Harbor. Now, Goodyear, you're a little bit milder at 70 degrees, but Wickenburg, you're down into the mid 60s right now. At Laveen, you saw that your temperature is at 67. It's 65 in Chandler, 64 in Gilbert. We're also in the mid 60s in Chandler, as I just mentioned, in Queen Creek and in Apache Junction. So all in all, a great morning if you want to get outside, whether it's for a walk, for a run, maybe you still want to get in a hike. You've got some time for it because look at our temperatures and look at our warm up. It's going to be pretty much just as slow as it was yesterday, which means we're still going to be in the 70s even through 10 o'clock here this morning. So you've got some time. Then we'll be into the mid 80s, but not until about lunchtime. We will see the 90s again today, and today will be a degree warmer than yesterday, but just 1 degree. We're up to 92 for a high here this afternoon, and we'll likely see that high temperature in that 4 o'clock hour today. 92 for Phoenix, low 90s across the valley with a high of 91 in Surprise, 92 in Goodyear, 91 in Glendale. We'll reach the upper 80s today in Anthem and Cave Creek. Then a high of 91 today in Queen Creek. Gilbert, you top out at 92. So if you're trying to decide whether you want to go for a hike this morning or a hike this evening, I think both are pretty good options. This morning's certainly going to feel more comfortable, more of that fresh air with temperatures in the 60s. But if you hold off until closer to sunset, we'll be dropping out of the 90s by then into the upper 80s. Should be a nice evening. Just make sure that you're taking plenty of water with you and hydrating, of course. 92 for a high today in Phoenix. We'll top out at 80 in Sedona, 73 in Show Low, and 67 today in Flagstaff. More winds across northern Arizona with gusts closer to 30 miles an hour. Here in the valley, though, winds are lightening up. Now, typically, that also means we start to see more of that ozone pollution adding up. But the good news is with some of those high clouds, it looks like ozone pollutions will stay in the moderate range for today. Tomorrow, we see more sunshine, and it's possible we're going to be under an ozone high pollution advisory tomorrow. Temperatures will also be trending up. So today, 92 degrees. Then tomorrow, back near normal with a high of 95. And by this weekend, we're talking triple-digit temperatures by Sunday again. So we'll be warming up this weekend, more hundreds on Monday, but check this out. Another cool down on the way, and luckily the hundreds won't last long because we'll be back into the 80s by next Wednesday.
Gosh, that's awesome. Okay, we'll take that. Thank you, Iris. For May, yes. In your morning headlines, new studies may help explain why there is such a wide range of symptoms when it comes to COVID-19. Although it's classified as a respiratory virus, scientists are finding it can infect organs throughout the body like the heart, the liver, brain, kidneys, and intestines. Researchers believe this could be why the coronavirus aggravates underlying health conditions like heart disease and diabetes. As wildfire season gets underway, coronavirus outbreaks among fire crews may be inevitable. In a risk assessment draft, the U.S. Forest Service predicting around 20 cases per camp. Each one hosts hundreds of people that come to fight fires that can burn for months. And those numbers would be with preventative measures like testing and PPE.
6:17, taking a look at the cost of treating the coronavirus. At least one drug is showing promise this morning. But what might you or your insurance company have to pay for it? Laboratories across the nation are racing to find a treatment. You've likely heard of remdesivir, developed by Gilead Sciences. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases saying hospitalized patients with advanced COVID-19 and lung involvement who received remdesivir recovered faster than similar patients who received a placebo. Dr. Stephen Pearson is director of the Institute for Clinical and Economic Review out of Boston and thinks $4,500 would be the fair price. But what will Gilead charge? The company has a history of frustrating consumers. In 2015, they charged $84,000 for their drug Sovaldi to treat hepatitis C. That breaks down to about $1,000 a pill. So far, the company has donated its supply of the drug to the federal government, who will decide where it can be used. Eventually, that will change, and we'll see what happens next.
It may be that the traditional way of letting a drug company name its price and seeing what the market will bear is just not going to be the smart way for our country or for the world to approach this.
Some members of Congress have sent a letter to the Health and Human Services Secretary. It reads in part, taxpayers are often the angel investors in pharmaceutical research and development, yet this is not reflected in the prices they pay. Well, traditionally, the government does not share in the profits or set prices for drugs. The last time the federal government made an attempt to set the price of any drug was post 9/11 with the anthrax scare.
Well, our teachers really forced to find creative ways to teach and stay connected with our kids during this pandemic.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
Oh, thank you. Stakeout, thanks.
And every day he sends his students a video of morning announcements, just like they'd hear at school. He says all of them are different, and he leads them through an art project or he reads.
Hopefully that there's other students, kids out there that I don't know what their lives are like at home. Some of them have people around, some of them don't. Some of them are struggling, and I just hope that each one of them is being able to connect with people that they love and people that love them.
Yeah, right now we know there is such a disconnect. So many kids, well, we all do. We crave that connection with each other. Mr. Opazzo says it is his way of letting his students know that he is there for them.
Ready to welcome customers back for a good time. They may not have live music right now, but they could soon. This Chandler business wants everyone to know that we are open Arizona.
And hiring a private investigator to make sure you're really doing your job. The new links some companies are going to check in to make sure you're working and really working from home.
Welcoming diners back inside. The local restaurants say we're open Arizona. As part of our special project, the Rebound Arizona, we're highlighting a neighborhood hangout in Chandler where, after making changes, the owner says they're ready to reopen today. Good Time Charlie's, known for its live music and food made from scratch. The last 3.5 years have been full of plenty of good times for Charlie Hopewell. Until 2 months ago, Charlie was forced to change the way business is done.
I'm sure I speak for every single restaurant owner when I say that March is our month, and it was like, what is going on? It's really rough. I mean, some of us still haven't gotten any kind of government loans and that type of thing. So we're just kind of going off of hope and a prayer that certain bill collectors are not going to start coming down hard on us.
Charlie says the writing was on the wall. Restaurants were going to have to change the way they operate, and fast.
I knew the week before when I saw everything coming down the pipe. I wish I had known even earlier, but when I saw it the week before, I had already told my staff, let's get this to-go menu thing ready. Let's get our plan ready because this is going to hit. This is going to happen. And so many of us didn't think it would actually happen to us. But I just had this feeling we better be sharp and better be ready. So we were pretty much like on day one. We already had our schedule ready. We had people scheduled in the places they were going to be, like the taco stand we did, and then all the different, I need someone to take orders, and I need someone to package all the food up correctly.
Charlie says it was like opening up a completely new to-go box business. Every week was different. New challenges and setbacks came with profits plummeting.
The margins are like, especially for me being open 3.5 years, the margins are so thin. That's like so thin. I can't explain. It's why you're seeing all these other businesses shut down completely. And I mean, I'm still an underdog. I'm still trying to, come up from the bottom because, we have been shut down that long, and now I'm not really sure when we're going to be able to bring music back, when we're going to be able to do, poker and all the little things that we, obviously social distancing doesn't allow me to do that stuff.
Even with restaurants now allowed to welcome customers back in, things are not like they were, certainly not normal. It'll be hard to have live music because of social distancing. Tables have been removed to make room in the already small space. Hand sanitizer will also be everywhere, and employees will wear a mask. Charlie says they'll still try to have a good time, and they'll still serve up the good food. Tacos, shrimp, salmon, green chili pork, which they smoke in-house. The music will hopefully follow as soon as it's safe.
I would say it was a venture intended to bond people through music. Music is my baby. I've been doing it my whole life. So I wanted it to be a place where you could come, any walk of life, any race, there's no prejudice, there's no, you come and you're accepted no matter who you are.
If you want more information on Good Time Charlie's or hundreds of other Arizona restaurants, check them out online at abc15.com/open.
Next at 6:30, he was tasked with developing a coronavirus vaccine, but was ousted from that position. Now the government scientist turned whistleblower is preparing to testify on Capitol Hill.
And good morning, I'm Carla Navarrete. City pools can now reopen, but will they? That is the big question. We'll tell you what some cities are doing coming up.